The entire internet is losing its mind over the new Gears of War gameplay trailer that literally looks just like the game from 2006. Welcome to OpenSplit. If you want a reality check on modern gaming hype trends, hit subscribe and check out my own survival roguelike on Steam. Okay guys, let's just step back and look at the actual video footage that dropped during the E-Day Direct. If you go online right now, you will see millions of gamers screaming and cheering, acting like this Unreal Engine 5 gameplay reveal just cured every single problem in the video game industry. People are genuinely emotional over a piece of running software, and I get it because it really looks good. But if you sit down and look at the video footage objectively, with basic gamer common sense, you have to ask yourself, what are we actually looking at here? What you are looking at is a dark grey environment. You are looking at classic characters from 20 years ago fighting a brutal subterranean monster species through the ruins of a city. It's brutal, it's gritty, and it's packed with heavy industrial atmosphere, which is exactly what we want. In other words, even with all the new mechanics, it is the exact same formula, the exact same art direction, and the exact same tone that the franchise launched with 2 decades ago. Basically, what we were all asking for. But you know what? This is a total nostalgia blind spot. The internet is losing its mind because the demonstration is triggering their childhood memories of playing on the old Xbox 360 after school. You know, the one who got the red ring. The hype stems entirely from how the gameplay makes people feel about their own past. And while there is nothing wrong with a good trip down memory lane, it is wild to see a community celebrate a massive AAA title that essentially promises to give them the exact same thing they already played when they were teenagers. Basically, give me more of the same, am I right? We've already talked about this on the channel. This gameplay reveal highlights again a much bigger, more terrifying pattern that is happening across the entire mainstream gaming industry right now. Publishers have reached a point where they are completely frozen by the cost of their own ambition. Look no further than the massive controversy that just leaked out via insider Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, who revealed that Gears of War E-Day had a development budget of upwards to $400 million, which is insane. I can't believe that. I mean, 400 million? For perspective, the original games were built for a fraction of that. When making a game becomes that astronomically expensive, major studios completely lose the ability to innovate. They struggle to create a brand new world or introduce a completely fresh gameplay concept because a single failure would bankrupt them. Instead, they retreat into the safest financial bet possible. Whenever a major franchise runs out of creative steam or gets stuck in a narrative corner, the corporate playbook says to hit the panic button, spend $400 million and announce a prequel. You go back to day one. You go back to the origin story, which can be cool. You bring back the old original characters, iconic characters before they got old, and you promise the audience that you are going to recreate the classic feel. As a gamer and solo indie dev myself, watching this cycle happen over and over again is honestly a little bit uninspiring. We are trapped in a loop of endless prequels, remakes and remasters. The industry is treating 20-year-old franchises like safety blankets because they need to justify these bloated budgets. Instead of pushing the medium forward and taking weird, exciting and creative risks, the biggest companies in the world are just recycling our own childhoods back to us with a fresh coat of paint. The other major thing that any experienced gamer can deduce just by looking at this reveal is the underlying risk of banking entirely on old school mechanics. Even though the studio has modernized the movement engine, introducing subtle changes to how running, cover sliding and verticality work, the loop remains inherently bound to the past. Look, we have been burned by this industry so many times, yet the collective gaming community still falls for the exact same mechanical tricks every single showcase season. Look at it from this angle. A polished showcase demo is a highly controlled environment. It is a finely tuned slice of software designed by developers to trigger a specific emotional response. They can move the active reload bar to the center of the screen and promise smoother controls, but a demonstration reveals nothing about how the full game actually feels like over a long campaign. When the game actually launches, which is pretty soon, you will interact with the actual gameplay rather than just watching a beautifully directed presentation of it. You deal directly with camera angles, enemy artificial intelligence, user interfaces and repetitive gameplay loops. If the core loop of the game still relies on the same horizontal cover shooting mechanics, hiding behind chest-high walls and reloading your weapon in a small minigame, something we've been doing since the mid-2000s, all the high-end graphics in the world will fail to make it feel truly fresh. The danger of getting this hyped over a nostalgia-focused sandbox is that the community builds up an impossible expectation in their heads. They completely forget that a video game requires actual engaging fun to play, rather than just comforting visuals to look at. The question now is, what do we actually want from games? Because ultimately the massive reaction to E-Day says a lot more about the current state of players than it does about the game itself. The reason people are cheering for a return to a simple, dark linear setup is because modern gaming has become completely bloated. We live in an era of live service games, battle passes, endless open world maps and multiplayer modes that feel like a second job. To me it seems like players are a little bit exhausted by that and they are desperate for an escape. So when they see a campaign that promises a simple, focused story, a return to form about Marcus and Dom engaging in a desperate fight for survival during the initial crisis, they see a clear alternative to the modern corporate slop and are basically begging for a game that tells a story, respects their time and concludes cleanly. But we have to look at this honestly. Is going backward to a 20-year-old formula the exclusive solution to fix modern gaming? And what about the $400 million budget, which is just insane? And keeping it locked as an Xbox console exclusive, sparking massive controversy after the devs denied it was ever planned for PS5 to begin with, despite conflicting promotional leaks. The math remains highly problematic for the consumer and the industry. To actually break even on that kind of money without PlayStation sales, if the rumors are true, they would require an astronomical number of raw purchases or massive growth on a service like Game Pass. The solution to bloated productions like this requires completely new ideas, unique mechanics and original stories, something more than just nostalgia and good graphics, something that reflects where gaming should be going. Let's actually start demanding genuine evolution rather than just settling for the exact same linear corridors we've played already in 2006. Even with expanded features like the new 12-player Horde Siege squad structures, safe, expensive, predictable nostalgia represents, in my opinion, a low standard for the industry. E-Day will probably be a perfectly fine, polished shooter, and that's great. But if you're one of those guys who think we deserve much more forward-thinking ambition, please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video, and let me know in the comments below, do you think a $400 million budget makes sense for a linear prequel, or is this proof that AAA gaming is completely broken? Thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!